There are more rules in sharpening than I believe basketball. It's enough to make your head spin. There's one I read recently. It went something like, if you use oil on a stone, you can never use water on that stone again. This is a Baryonyx Manticore. It is 60 grit. It's a very hard stone, not very friable. It prefers oil. I've used oil on this, baby oil gel, KY jelly, Windex, my concoction that I got from Caleb McCullough of 1 part baby oil, 1 part dish soap, 4 parts water. I've used just dish soap on it, water, simple green, basically any lubricant you can possibly think of, I've tried on this stone. Right now it's full of oil, and I've had it soaking in water, and as you can see, what it does is it repels the water, so it becomes like a splash and go stone, which is extremely convenient. I've been getting a lot of questions recently about coarse stones. What's a good coarse stone? Well, it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're thinning a knife, at least in my opinion, you want something that's kind of friable. That way you don't have to put a ton of pressure down. You're already dealing with a really large surface area, and stones like this, you really have to bear down with pressure to get them to cut well. If you're just doing a V-bevel, you know, the main cutting edge, the surface area is very small. You don't have to apply so much pressure to get the stone to cut. So if you're doing a thinning job or working with single bevels, I would go with something a little softer, just so you don't have to, you know, break your hands trying to cut the steel. Shafton Pro is a good choice. I always recommend the 120 stone. I hear the Shafton Glass 120 is just as good. I've only got experience with the 220. I can tell you that stone is a little friable. I don't see why the 120 would be any different. Also the Norton Crystolon. That stone gets overlooked quite often. It is an oil stone, but you know, again, you can use water on it. There's no written rule that says you have to use oil. Not only is it a budget-friendly stone, it's one of the fastest stones I've ever used. It gets overlooked, like I said. I don't know why. Maybe because people just don't want to deal with oil stones. Tonight we're going to go through several really coarse stones, and I'm going to show you with this Hinkle's knife that you can get an extremely sharp edge with a very coarse stone. Again, this is the Manticore. I've already dulled the edge. Just going to go ahead and get started here. This is a very fast stone for V-bevel, so it shouldn't take long at all. I've already got a burr in some areas. going to do 10 passes on a strop. Now this had metal polish on it. I scraped all the polish off. Whatever remnant was left, that's all that's on this strop now. That's 10 passes per side. I don't remember if I said I was only going to do 5 or 10. We'll go with 10. So we're going to do 2 tests here. 1 test down here in the flat and 1 test in the belly. I'm only going to do 1 cut test and we'll move on to the next stone and we'll compare the results at the very end. So that's 211. $184. Next up, we're going to do another oil stone I've used with water. This is another Baryonyx stone. This is their American Mutt. This stone is really quite interesting. They take the scraps from all of their other stones and just take this amalgam of different grits, combine them all into one, and this is the result. It's got diamond, silicon carbide, aluminum oxide. There's all kind of stuff going on in this guy. Not really a grit rating for it other than coarse. Once again, do 10 strokes on strop. I believe that was 10. I may have went over one. Again, same thing. We're going to test the flat, then the tip. 171. $127. Next up is the Norton Crystolon. We're going to use the coarse side. And I'm going to use my concoction of baby oil and dish soap that I got from Caleb McCullough. Basically 1 part baby oil, 1 part dish soap, 4 parts water, and then I adjust the baby oil and the soap a little bit more and try to get a little thicker consistency. I think you'll notice on this stone the edge is going to come out a little bit cleaner. I think the abrasive in this is a little bit finer and a little more consistent, so it gives a little bit of a cleaner edge. Now this stone is friable. It requires, you know, light pressure. You don't have to bear down on this one to get it to cut. This is one of my favorite coarse stones right here. I think I went too many strokes on that last one. Yeah, I got a full burr. $106. Got one final stone I want to look at tonight. It's the Norton India. We're going to use the coarse side. Again, I'm going to use baby oil, dish soap, and water. This stone may take a few more passes to get a burr. It's not quite as aggressive as the other ones unless you put a lot of pressure down. That's got a burr. That's got a burr. 141. $135. Alright, so using the edge on up edge guesser, the stone that came out with the best edge, just doing one cut test obviously, was the Norton Crystolon. That is very surprising to me. I figured it would have been the India stone. The India stone came in second on the flat. The Manticore came in third. The Manticore came in fourth, and the American Mutt came in third. We're talking about really close numbers here, though. The American Mutt on the tip was the second keenest. The India was third, and Manticore fourth. Again, these numbers are very, very close. And these are very, very coarse stones we're talking about here. If you don't get your knife sharp on your coarsest stone, it's never going to get sharp on your finest stone. And if you don't get it sharp, or as sharp as you possibly can, the whole edge is going to suffer through the rest of your stones. I think any of these edges that I produced on any of these coarse stones, if you were to give them to somebody in a pocket knife, they would have been extremely happy. They're very toothy, very aggressive. They bite into the skin and just want to do work. They just want to cut. Now these are kind of some low-key stones, and I want to do that for a purpose because each one of them is priced very, very reasonably. I think the most expensive stone I showed was $30 tops, and that would probably be the Crystolon. If you shop around, you can get that stone for $20 or even less. Appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. Y'all have a good one.